37,000 feet over the Indian Ocean, in the dark, a jumbo jet full of sleeping passengers, and then the engines begin to glow. One by one, all 4 engines flame out. The most powerful airliner of its era goes silent and begins to fall. What the crew didn't know was that they had flown into something no radar could see, and that their calm in the next 30 minutes would become legendary. June 24th, 1982. British Airways. Flight 9 is a long-haul journey from London to Auckland, broken into several legs across the globe. This particular night, the aircraft, a Boeing 747, one of the largest passenger jets in the world, is flying the leg from Kuala Lumpur to Perth, out over the ocean south of Indonesia. On board, 248 passengers and 15 crew. 263 people in total. In command, Captain Eric Moody, with his first officer and flight engineer. The flight is smooth and uneventful. Most of the passengers are asleep. The weather radar shows clear skies ahead. There is no storm, no cloud, nothing to suggest danger. As far as the instruments are concerned, the path ahead is empty. It was not empty. The first sign was subtle. A faint haze appeared in the cabin, and a smell like burning or electrical smoke. Some passengers noticed what looked like smoke drifting from the floor vents. Then the windscreen came alive. Brilliant, flickering light, known as St. Elmo's fire, crackled across the glass like static electricity made visible. The leading edges of the wings began to glow, and the engines. Passengers looking out the windows saw the engine intakes lit up from within, glowing and flashing, throwing long beams of light into the night. It was beautiful and deeply wrong. The crew had never seen anything like it, and their instruments still showed no clear explanation for what was happening around them. Then the engines began to fail. Number 4 surged and flamed out first. Seconds later, a second engine quit. Then, almost together, the last 2. Within moments, all 4 engines of the 747 had stopped. It was a situation considered so unlikely that crews barely trained for it. A fully loaded jumbo jet at night over the ocean, with no engines at all. The aircraft was now the world's heaviest glider. As the jet began its long descent, Captain Moody made an announcement to the cabin that would become one of the most famous in aviation history, calmly informing the passengers that all 4 engines had stopped, that the crew were doing everything possible to restart them, and that he hoped they were not in too much distress. It was a masterclass in composure, but behind that calm voice, the crew were racing against time and altitude. The crew did the math. From their altitude, the 747 could glide for roughly 20 minutes and a little over 100 miles before it reached the sea. They turned back toward land and the nearest airport at Jakarta and began working the engine restart procedures over and over. There was a second emergency unfolding. As the aircraft descended, the cabin lost pressure, and the first officer's oxygen mask malfunctioned, forcing the crew to dive the aircraft even faster to get to breathable air. Again and again, they tried to relight the engines. Again and again, nothing. The dark ocean was rising toward them, and they were running out of sky. If they couldn't restart at least one engine soon, they would have to attempt something almost never survived: ditching a jumbo jet into the open ocean at night. Then, as the aircraft descended through the lower, cleaner air, one engine caught, then another, and another. One by one, all 4 engines roared back to life. The crew had their aircraft back. They climbed away from the sea and turned for Jakarta. But the ordeal wasn't over. Whatever they had flown through had sandblasted the windscreen until it was nearly impossible to see through. On final approach, Captain Moody could only see the runway through a small clear strip at the edge of the glass, landing the giant jet almost blind, guided by his instruments and the few lights he could make out. He brought it down safely. Every one of the 263 people on board walked off the aircraft unharmed. Only later did investigators piece together what had happened. The aircraft had flown straight through a cloud of volcanic ash, thrown up by the eruption of a volcano in Indonesia called Mount Galunggung. Volcanic ash is bone-dry and made of fine rock and glass. To weather radar designed to detect rain and water droplets, it is effectively invisible, which is why the crew's instruments showed clear skies. Inside the searingly hot engines, the ash melted and coated the internal blades, choking them until they failed. And here was the strange salvation. As the dead engines cooled during the long glide, that glassy coating hardened, cracked, and flaked off, clearing the engines just enough to let them restart in the cleaner air below. The lessons reshaped aviation. The danger of volcanic ash was finally taken seriously, leading to the creation of a worldwide network of volcanic ash advisory centers. The system that today tracks eruptions and routes aircraft safely around ash clouds. A threat that was once invisible is now watched around the clock because of a night in 1982 when a calm captain and his crew glided a silent jumbo jet out of the dark and brought everyone home. If you enjoyed this one, subscribe for more stories from the edge of aviation and the sea, the moments that tested people to the limit, and what we learned from them. We'll see you in the next one.